Hello, today I'm going to show you few focal points how to buy a used scooter from a private owner. And in this video I will show you how. Hello, today I'm going to show you a few things that I do when I'm going to buy a used scooter from a private owner. There's many things that you have to do, just to look around the scooter. Many things that you have to look when you go and buy these scooters. The parts of the scooters, they're really inexpensive. You can find them on Amazon, you can find them on eBay, you can find them many places. They're very inexpensive. What is going to cost is really the labor of the fixing of the parts or changing the parts. That's what it's really going to cost to fix your scooter. If you buy a used scooter, the first thing you should look at the price of the scooter. These scooters online, they go for about $1,500 to $1,800. That's more or less the average that would go brand new. Okay. Now after that, what you're going to look, if you're looking to find a used scooter, you have to be a little bit responsible. Or when you're going to buy a used scooter, you have to look at many things. Okay. So these many things are the scooter, stage. Where is the scooter at that moment? How the scooter looks, and how the scooter is being preserved, how it's being taken care of. So you have to look at many things. The first thing, when you go to buy a scooter, you see where and when, and especially from who you're going to buy the scooter from. That means a lot. Many times what I look is the house where they live, the location where they live is very important. To see if they have money, that's important too, because if people they have money, for sure they take care of the scooter a lot better. And maybe the scooter stay in the garage more time than it stays outside on the rain. So that's really a good point to see where they live, how is their stage in life, how old are they, how much is the miles of the scooter. That's very important. Now I just got this scooter, and this scooter only has like 952 miles, so it's pretty good. It's a good scooter. It looks pretty new on the outside. The thing is the GY6 scooter. Now how do you know if you have a GY6 scooter? The GY6 scooter, on the lower side of your motor, on the left side, you see a little plaque, okay? Now they almost look the same, all the scooters, okay? But sometimes you have to read the number that you're going to see at that plaque underneath the motor. And there is many numbers that are really different. If you find a 1P QMJ, that's a 150 scooter, 150cc. If you find a 1P QMI, that's a 125cc scooter. If you find a scooter, they kind of look the same, very similar. If you find the 1P39 QMB, that's a 50cc. That's really important to know what kind of scooter you're going to buy. That's very important. You want to know if it's a powerful scooter, you want to know if it's a 50cc or 125 or 150. That's really important. And they will be on that side, on the left side of the scooter, where is the kickstand, right there. You're going to see a little plaque, okay? I'm gonna show you right here, so I can show you the number, so you're gonna see, and that's where you're going to find that number. That's very important. After that, you should look at the VIN number of the scooter to make sure the VIN number is really the one that you have on the scooter and the one that you have on the title, that you're going to buy the title from this person, you're gonna buy the scooter. Always take your time. Do not rush yourself. Don't get your wallet out and give the money right away to people. And then you might have problems. So before you get your money out, look at all those things. Make sure you have the VIN number. Make sure the VIN number match. Look at the number of the motor to make sure that's what the motor that you really want. Okay, right after you check the motor number down here, to make sure that's the size of the motor that you really wanted. Down here, you're going to check the overall of the scooter. See, from the overall of the scooter, you're going to know where this scooter has been. if you see the seat that is nice and there is no cracks, and you see the body of the scooter, there is no cracks on the plastic from the sun, and especially the black plastic right here, you see that it's nice and shiny and almost look like brand new. This is very important to know where the scooter has been. This one is one of the things that you should look. After that, you should look at the tires, you know, the tires back here. Make sure you have enough tread on those tires, okay? Make sure at least in the back you should have 2 millimeters of treading on the tire to be safe on riding the scooter, okay? Now if you look in the front, even in the front you should have at least 2 millimeters on the tread, on the groove of the tires. You know, these tires that really don't cost too much money, you're thinking about it, you know, about $45. If you really want to spend like a $70, you can spend $70 for a Michelin or $80. But this one, they don't cost too much. The thing that is going to cost you a little more, that's the labor of how to remove these tires. You know, it's going to cost you a little more money. So they will charge you $70 for the tire, and they will charge you $50 for the labor. So, you know, more or less to change these tires is going to cost you $100 each one. You know, unfortunately, mechanics, they really want to make money out of you. So labor is going to cost you a lot of money to change parts. But if you can change parts by yourself, that is really easy and is really cheap, you can save a lot of money, okay? Now, make sure you check the tire and spin the rear tire to make sure that the rear tire, you know, is free, you know. Sometimes it might be a little hard to turn the tire in the back because it's been a long time that these tires, they're not turning, okay? But you can spray a little bit of silicone WD-40, not regular WD-40 because that's a water displacement WD-40. You really want to have a special WD-40 that's a silicone one that is a waterproof and is a better product, okay? And you're going to spray on the side where the other side, on the right side of the exhaust, on the center part of the wheel, okay? That's where you're going to spray a little bit. You're going to spray a little bit of WD-40 silicone spray and turn the wheel at the same time. So you're going to make sure that this wheel is going to, you know, become alive again. You can do with the one in the back and you can do with the one in the front, okay? So at that point, the both wheels, they're going to be okay. Now, another thing that you really have to check with the scooters when you buy a used scooter is the compression. Unfortunately, many scooters, when you buy them used, the battery is dead. People, they left the scooter for a while on the outside, and the battery dies in like a month, you know. So if you don't keep that battery alive, it's a really small battery, the problem that this battery is going to be dead, and you cannot turn the scooters on so easily, okay? So, but you can check the compression. So you don't really need to turn the key on the injection, but you can push this one, you know, and you're going to hear the engine going fo 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 fo. That's the sound of the compressor or the motor. You know, if this one doesn't go down, the kickstart, you have a problem, okay? Something is stuck in there. But if you hear a sound that is fo fo, that's the compressor of the motor. Now you're really not going to be specific on how much compressor you're going to have inside your cylinder this way, but you're going to have a feel that the motor has a little bit of compressor. You need to, when you push this one down with your foot, you need to feel that you have a little bit of resistance. That's when you're going to feel the compression, okay? So compression inside the motor is really important for these scooters. The problem that sometimes you have to open the whole motor to fix the ring of the pistons, or maybe sometimes it's just the valves on the top, they don't have too much compression, so something could be wrong with the valves. But when you feel compression, that's good. Now when you buy a used scooter, make sure you look everywhere to don't see any rust, especially on the frame, because after a while this frame, they get rusty and they are not good frames and the metal is not too great, so they can break on the joint or the frame. So that's something you should look. Another thing that is really important on the scooter when you buy a used one is the front part is the steering. Make sure that this part right here turns freely and nice and smoothly, okay? Because sometimes this part can be a little, it's got some grease underneath, and this grease might be get dry, so when you turn you might have some problem. After a while this scooter, they are not running. So you know, the more smoothly you find the steering, the better it is. Another thing you should look when you're up here is the alignment of the nose right here with the front tire and the nose in the front. If this one looks this way and your wheel will look left, you know, if they look at the opposite sides, that is not really good. So you have to see if you can straighten the wheel or if there is some problem on the frame. So I kind of will stay away when you have want to buy a used scooter that you know, your tire goes one way and the nose goes the other one, because maybe it's been in an accident. Even if it's a small accident, maybe the frame is bended. So that's something really important to look. Now when you're up here, try to pull the brakes and see if the brakes are working, you know, especially the one in the back and then one in the front. The one in the front sometimes can be hard, because the problem, if you leave your scooter for a while, not riding the scooter, the fluid that is inside the brake line is going to become really hard and it's not going to function the way it's supposed to be functioning. So that's the one on the right side. So when you're here, try the brake, okay? Try the brake, look all the buttons, all controls that you have over here, make sure they're not broken or they're cracked. You know, with this scooter, look like they're pretty new. Right after that, you can try to start the scooter, but many times when you try to start a scooter and the scooter has been sitting for a while, the battery is not good anymore. So you have to buy a new battery, or you can try to jump start the scooter even with the car, but make sure the car is off and you jump the scooter with the car. Because if you have the car on and you jump the scooter, you might burn some wires in the scooter. So make sure the car is off, you jump the scooter and you try to start the scooter to see at least if it's turning. You don't really have to turn the scooter on, okay? You want to make sure that when you push the start button, this scooter is going to respond, you know? But you don't really have to start it yet, because I will not start the scooter until I check if there is oil and until I check if there is enough gas that is good. Because if the gas inside the tank is there but it's good for nothing, don't turn the motor on and get that fluid inside your motors, because you're going to have a problem, because that kind of like fuel that is inside there is going to be a little more watery. So you don't want a watery fuel to go inside your motor, okay? So that's something you should do, is should drain your tank before you start your scooter. So that's very important. Down here, I want you to use your eyes, okay? Because this is the front tire. The front tire is really important. You need to make sure on the front tire you have enough tread to go around on the tire. You have to look kind of sideways, where is the rotor over here, to see how much shoes of the brake pad you have, you know, how much meat on the brake pad. That's very important. Kind of look that way and you see what's going on. So after that, you kind of look the overall wheel, you know, to see if it's healthy, if you have any problem on this part right here. Now when you're here, also look at the seal of the shock. If you see the front shock suspension, they're very oily. Something is not right, because they should not be very oily. You know, they should be nice and shine and smooth, but they should not be very oily. If they're very oily, it could be that the seal is broken inside and the oil is squishing up. So it comes up, and at that point you might need to buy new shocks or new suspension in the front, and that will be a problem. So I will not suggest you to buy something like that unless you think that, you know, that the scooter is going to be good for you, and you changing this one and the price of $60 or $70 shocks is going to be okay for you. You know, when you buy a used scooter, keep in mind how much it's going to cost you to fix. So if you fix it, or if you call a mechanic to fix. So sometimes it could be a good deal to buy a used GY6 scooter, but you want to keep in mind how much it will cost you. On the right side of your scooter, when you buy your scooter, you want to make sure that you check the oil. Motor oil is very important, even before you try to start the scooter. If you start the scooter and there is no oil inside there, you're going to have a big problem because this piston is going to get stuck inside the motor. So you want to make sure that you have oil, okay? Now right here, there is excess right here. That's where you look how much oil you're going to have. Make sure you're going to have your scooter on a center stand. So if you have a scooter on a center stand, you will read the oil the way it should be reading, okay? So if there is no oil, there is few things. The oil inside maybe is become like honey and is really thick, okay? Or if there is no oil because the scooter smoke all the oil. There is many things that can happen, but you know, hopefully you're not going to have any problem with the oils. But make sure if you try to start a scooter that you have oil. Now that's something you have to check right away as soon you buy a scooter. Yeah. Okay, right after, if you check if you have the oil, make sure the exhaust system and your muffler, they look good and they don't have too much rust. You know, this muffler, they will cost you about $60 if you do it yourself and you put it on yourself. If you go to a mechanic, it will cost you about $120 to $150 maybe, around there. So, but it's better if you put it yourself. It's easy. It will take you 20 to 30 minutes to put it on, and it's going to be nice because you did it, okay? So, make sure this exhaust doesn't look rusty. If you see any rust, what you can do, you just use some sandpaper and the water and you get the rust away, okay? And then later you can paint it with heat resistant paint, like a black color, heat resistant paint. Now after that you have to make sure that everything looks pretty good in the back on the right side. Make sure bolts, they're nice and tight. Make sure the rear spring right here looks good and there is not too much rust. Now as soon as you can with these used scooters, change the rear shocks, because these scooter shocks, the suspension, the rears, they're really dangerous and they break on you when you're riding the scooter. Now if you're a really light person, they last longer, but if you're kind of like a heavy set like me, they will not last you too long. So you really want something that really is going to hold your weight and is going to be feeling like you're riding a scooter or a motorcycle, not riding a little toy. Okay, so because these shocks right here, they're for little toys. So these shocks, they're not really too good. So this one is something that you have to look around right here, okay? It's very important. Rust, oil. Now another thing that you should look is the fuel, okay? Because you want to make sure that the fuel in the used scooter that you're going to buy is good or not. So you're just going to open your seat and you're going to unscrew the cap right here of the fuel. At that point you kind of look at the fuel. If you kind of look like an amber color, the fuel is not good anymore, okay? Because it starts to separate. It becomes really water and molasses. You know, it's kind of like it's not good anymore. You can smell it. If you smell really a watery smell, the fuel is not good. So drain the tank and get some fresh fuel inside here, even before you start your motor, okay? So this kind of dirty fuel is not going to go through your carburetor, it's not going to go through your motor, okay? So you really want something fresh. Now look inside there. If you have enough light, or use like a, you know, a little light to make sure there is no rust inside the tank. Usually if the scooters, they're pretty good and they're good quality tanks, strangely, you know, and they last a long time. But if they take care of them, you know, if they leave them outside, they don't last too long. Okay, right after you check your fuel to make sure it looks good, or not, make sure you have a scooter manual. This one is important for people that are slightly mechanically inclined or not. So this one will give you an idea of things that you can do on the scooter. On the lighter side, they're not really going to teach you how to disassemble the scooter and put it back together. But little few things on the maintenance on this scooter is going to be on this manual. So if you have one, that's fantastic. If not, just ask me, and I'm going to post a video very soon about this manual. Or just go through my YouTube channel and see all the videos that will help you out to service your scooter. That's very important. Now, after you have see if you have the manual, look at the seat, look at the inside, look if you have any cracks or any aging that look like your scooter is getting age. Now this scooter that you see down here on the front left side, usually you have a little tag and tells you where and when this scooter was being put together. This scooter has been put together on 2015, April 2015. And this one is got only 952 miles. So this one was a pretty good deal for $250 scooter that I bought. So what I can do, I'm just gonna keep this scooter for me and have a little more fun, or I'm just going to sell the other scooter that I have and gonna keep this one. So I'm kind of deciding at the moment what to do. But or, you know, if I really want it, I bought this scooter for $250, I can resell it for $500 anytime if I want it. But make sure that if you're going to fix a scooter and resell it to somebody, be responsible. You're going to sell a product to another person, make sure that this product here is going to work, and make sure this product is going to be a good product to sell to somebody else. You know, if you want to be responsible that this person is not going to have a large problem with this scooter, okay? You don't want to have any regrets of something else happened to a person because it was your mistake. Now, these scooters are pretty good if you take care. You have to be mechanically inclined to take care of the scooter slightly. But if not, I'm always here for you. Anytime, feel free to ask me any question, and if I know it, I would love to help you out and answer to you, okay? Now, this is many things that you have to look. The best thing you have to, you know, exercise when you really go to a place to buy a scooter is to look at the overall scooter. You know, the overall scooter. Do you think something is wrong with the scooter? Do you think this one is a good deal for you? Make sure there is no oil leak. Put yourself underneath the scooter and look if there is any oil leak. It's very important. Oil leak is, because if you have an oil leak on the scooters, you need to open up the motor, you have to redo the seal, you have to change the gaskets, so there's a lot of things you have to do. So, what you can do, you have to open your eyes. Your eyes are your best asset when you buy a used scooter, okay? So, after that, you can make a little business. You can buy a scooter and resell scooters. That's what you can do. But, you know, nowadays, you can do many things with the scooter. Or, if you like, you just buy a nice, cheap scooter, fix it for yourself, and enjoy and love to ride the scooter everywhere around town. That is a fantastic thing. Now at this point, I'd like to thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask at any time. And I'd like to thank you.